Well, it is good news this Tuesday. South Africa continuing to record a low number of COVID-19 cases, but authorities are warning all of us that there is still the risk of a fourth wave. It remains high amid the low vaccination uptake. Gauteng is still one of the provinces hardest hit by this third wave. Close on 920,000 COVID-19 cases have been recorded in the province to date since the beginning of COVID-19. Well, let's find out what our province looks like as far as GP is concerned. Gauteng COVID-19 Advisory Council member, always a pleasure, Professor Bruce Mellado. Prof, good morning to you. And the numbers are coming down. Gauteng sitting at, I think it was 38 yesterday. Limpopo is astonishingly low, just 2. So I think this is where, Prof, we could begin. People, I think, are a little bit confused. We keep saying more people need to get vaccinated, but the numbers are coming down. I'm sure you understand the confusion.
Thanks for having me, Gareth, and you're asking a very good question. So indeed, on the one hand, most of the indicators in the province and other provinces show that we were able to bring the numbers down below, or significantly below, the period between the second and third waves. So for instance, a figure of merit, currently we have in the province about 1,000 active cases. Whereas somewhere before the third wave, between the second and third, we were hovering between 2,000 and 3,000. So that's a significant improvement, and that's certainly a good sign. We see, however, that the drop in the number of cases and other indicators is slowing down. So we are stabilizing, and we're not stabilizing at zero. And that is a fundamental problem. For as long as you continue to have community transmission, even if the numbers are low, the risk of an upcoming wave is very, very high. Now, unfortunately, because we have ahead of us quite a number of super spread events, starting from elections, ending with the festive period, unfortunately, the likelihood of a fourth wave is very, very high.
Do you, as part of the Advisory Command Council, the Gauteng Command Council, Prof. Mellado, ever talk about going into a higher lockdown level again? The reason I'm asking is if we see these numbers come down, I can't remember patterns. I'm sure you can remember patterns better than I can. As the numbers come down, we go to a lesser lockdown level, and then in 3 months' time, you and I are going to sit here again and ask the question, well, why did we open up everything again if we knew that we were going to have super spreader events? Does a conversation happen at the Gauteng Command Council?
Absolutely. All these conversations have been taking place for a long time since we started working on understanding the management of the pandemic. So the current situation is such that we've been able as a province to keep the numbers down, community transmission quite low, despite the fact that mobility has basically increased to almost pre-COVID levels, if you look at numbers. So this is certainly a good sign, and basically means that having now a higher level of lockdown is certainly not going to help or have any significant impact on the number of cases. Now, the problem with super spread events is that they are highly localized. They basically happen in ways that are very difficult to control, even with lockdowns. And now with all these events coming up, having now a higher level of lockdown, we don't think is going to have any practical effect. I mean, it sounds good on paper, but unfortunately, in practice, having a higher level of lockdown currently or at the moment will certainly not have the desired effect in practice.
Perhaps let me leave this as my last question to you, Prof. I'm trying to not sneeze on air. That would be COVID inappropriate. Prof, last question to you then. So what also worries me is as we see the COVID-19 numbers down, we're going to show viewers our graphics in a moment of the numbers. As they come down, I don't imagine this is helping with the vaccination drive. We are going to miss the 70% herd immunity by December. And I would imagine, Prof, correct me if I'm wrong, because we're seeing the numbers come down, people are going, well, we seem to be on top of it. But that isn't the case, is it?
You're absolutely correct, and that's the reason why we're trying to communicate with all the stakeholders. The fact that the numbers are down low now does not mean that we're not going to have a fourth wave, and we need to get prepared for that fourth wave, regardless of how big or small that fourth wave is going to be. Any wave is going to bring a significant number of casualties, whether we want it or not. The moment you have a large number of people infected, inevitably there will be people passing on, and that's what we have to prevent. So we go out to the population to make and to give out a very clear message. The fact that numbers are low now does not mean that we should not accelerate our vaccination drive, because we have to be ready for that fourth wave, and we have to, even if we think we may not reach it, we cannot change the goals in regard to the number of people that need to get vaccinated in preparation for the fourth wave.
Well, I appreciate your time. It's this fourth wave we're very worried about. Numbers are down now, but it might not stay that way. Prof, always a pleasure speaking to you. Prof. Bruce Mellado, Gauteng Command Council, joining us on eNCA. So